I would say I oftentimes got stuck in really just repetitive habits and really not believing in myself. So it kind of always turned back to what I was comfortable with. And so she really helped push me outside of my comfort zone, kind of jump out of that comfortability a lot of us oftentimes go back to. I met Mo at a Women's Already Connected event. And if you've met Mo, she has a wonderful aura and energy about her. And, you know, I feel like a lot of us want to be playful and outgoing and just, she really embodies authenticity, and that's something I really admired and adored about her. And so that really drew me into her and made me really excited to learn more about her and end up working with her. I would say Mo helped me a lot with intentionality. So when something comes up for me, really since working with her, rather than having a feeling and reacting, I'm able to sit with it, acknowledge things, whether it's a limiting belief, whether it's just a thought, an idea, and really knowing how to respond to the thought or the situation, or acknowledging a limiting belief and knowing that that no longer serves me. So similarly to that, there was a few situations that even the thought or idea of just kind of made me want to curl up in a ball. And so she gave me a lot of resources and tools and breathwork practices to kind of calm my nervous system and redirect my thinking instead of kind of like a fight or flight, to really process those emotions and, you know, not let them ruin my day or completely take over. Really process, sit with them, and be able to move forward. I would say 2024, I really I let fear drive. We talked about often fear sitting in the driver's seat or the passenger seat, and so I would say a lot of limiting beliefs as far as what I'm capable of, what I'm worth. I was able to acknowledge old patterns and thoughts and things that I may have once thought were true, and realize those were just stories that I had written, and really get to rewrite them. And it's been a beautiful experience. Before, anytime I had what I would say a difficult decision, I would almost 9 times out of 10 phone a friend. Now I'm able to more rely on myself and trust myself in many ways, because before I was grasping for someone else to give me the answers, even though I've always had the answers. I was just used to maybe a codependency, whether it was with my mom or a friendship. And so she taught me a lot of different ways how to really trust and honor my own intuition and thoughts, and not have to get that external validation from somebody else to help me get through it. One of the most impactful things she taught me would be segment intending. And man, that's just whether I'm walking through a door or sitting in my car. Being an ADHD person myself, it's really easy to get lost and to forget who you're showing up as. So learning and using segment intending has been super powerful for me. So when I step into a room, or I step into my car, sit down somewhere, you know, reminding myself who I'm showing up as, that has been one of the most powerful tools that she's given me for sure. Breath work, just simple breath works have been really pivotal for me, as well as journaling, and some of the exercises she's shared with me has really helped me as far as I think Mo might have showed me this. If you have a staircase and your goal's at the top of it and you try to jump, you're gonna fall. But if you set those micro goals and make it more realistic for you, you're gonna be able to step your way up and reach that big goal. And so that's been super, super helpful in getting me to where I want to be. So first thing that comes to mind is in the morning, being a single mom, intentionality is really important, because if your kid says something crazy or gets frustrated, it can easily kind of flip the way of your whole day if you let it. And so being really intentional of how I spend my mornings with my son. We started having little dance parties in the morning, and that was just so pivotal for me and my son's relationship and how we both started our day. Whether if he didn't want to buckle up, that kind of set us off for the day. Instead, just being really, really intentional intentional about the way I start my day was so life-changing. The way I show up for myself. Before, especially, like I said, being a single mom and having multiple autoimmune diseases, a lot of days I would feel defeated. And so having these little tools that she provided me with and having that support, sending her voice memo anytime and knowing that she was in my corner, just really made a lot of things feel more effortless for me. Man, I would say specifically, I had a roommate situation throughout our coaching sessions, and before I wouldn't have been able to set boundaries, and I even brought up I had set a boundary and it kept getting crossed, and without her support I wouldn't have been able to reiterate and say like, hey, this is the boundary, this is the standard. And so she really helped me believe in myself and really realize how important it is the way you word boundaries and the way you hold them, because if you don't hold them, people will still keep creeping over them. So that was super crucial in my growth of really setting a boundary and then holding somebody to it. I'm not your average 2024 parent. I do no screens. I scan all the food my son eats. And so before, if somebody, wanted to feed him things I wasn't okay with, I'd let it slide. As for now, I 100% advocate for the mom that I am, whether it's in my business or my parenting. I 100% show up for who I am and what I believe in. As before, it was kind of like, Now I know this is who I am, this is the standard I want to hold, and that's totally okay. Before coaching with Mo, oftentimes feelings would arise and I would internalize them. She has given me a lot of resources and tools on how to express myself and how to communicate in a good way that feels good for me and the other person. For me and my mom, she's always that person I phone a friend if I ever need anything, and as beautiful as our relationship and friendship has always been, we relied on each other for a lot. And so taking some space apart, acknowledging she's always going to be my mom, but leaning on each other a little less and relying on ourselves a little more has been a really beautiful thing to watch and experience. And then with my son, like I said, really intentional mornings, especially being a single parent, the way I've shown up as a mom since coaching with Mo has been a night and day difference. I would say I see myself a lot more confidently, a lot more driven, and I would say my bounce back time has shortened quite a bit. I'm really proud of the goals I've set and the showing up for myself and intentionality every day, whether it's in business, in my relationships. I've really grown, I've really showed up for myself, and I think that really shows in my everyday life. I'm moving forward in life before everything was kind of like based upon fear, and now everything I do is based upon what kind of impact can I make, who do I want to show up as in the world. And I think those are two entirely different ways to show up. If you're every day showing up with like what ifs versus how can I create an impact, that's a huge difference. Go after it, especially if you've gotten the chance to meet her. It's kind of a no-brainer. She's a wonderful human being. She has an amazing energy about her, and she has so much support and so much love to give. And if you just need someone in your corner, a cheerleader, or just a coach, I mean, she's a wonderful person. Thinking that I knew how to set boundaries and realizing I knew how to set them, but I didn't know how to follow through with them. So letting people walk over those boundaries, even though, yes, I knew how to express my boundaries, but realizing how crucial it is to, if somebody crosses that line, reinstate it. Say again, hey, this wasn't a joke. And that was life-changing for me. But like I said, I bounced back a lot quicker with that, especially when it comes to being having a toddler, having a 4-year-old almost. It's easy to let little things kind of slip up your day, and so to be able to do a quick breath work, whether it's just myself or with my son, I don't think a lot of people have the access or knowledge of how easy it is to use your breath to calm yourself. and to move forward throughout your day. And so that has been just so wonderful. My self-awareness has grown in all areas, particularly, like I said, with boundaries and how I show up for myself, how I show up for others, and just that intentionality. Being intentional every day has made me a lot more self-aware, how I treat others, how I show up in a room, and who I want to show up as. I think a lot of people can look in the mirror and say, you know, I can do anything, but actually believing it is completely different than, you can say an affirmation 10,000 times and still not really believe it. So having somebody in your corner that believes that 10 times over with you is a lot more powerful. Being the main character of my life means, being a single mom with autoimmune diseases, there's a lot of putting other people first, even though sometimes I felt like I didn't have anything left. And so I have really sacrificed what I thought was, putting my son first or putting my family first, and realizing putting myself first was the most important thing I could have ever done. And I think that has been absolutely life-changing for me.